All rise. Oyez, oyez, oyez. Silence is commanded by this honorable commission. All those having business, draw near.
Thank you. And first of all, before you sit down, let me say this to you. Please cut those cell phones off. All right? Please, ma'am, please, sir, check your cell phones. And that goes for commissioners too. That goes for the manager too. Because the sheriff let you buy a little while ago, but we ain't let you buy the second time. All right? Thank you for having said that. You may be seated at this time. I've asked you to be seated now so that we can have our inspiration and our invocation. And we have with us Pastor Corey Williams of the Hope City Church. All right, and Pastor Williams, I don't know what happened to my intro of introducing you. Somebody forgot I was supposed to get it. All right, so I want you to take a little time though to tell us about yourself. All right, and tell us about your church, and then go into your inspiration. All right, that you want to give us, and then your invocation. And when Pastor Williams give us the instructions that we're getting ready for prayer, I want to ask everybody to restand. And then when we restand, and after the prayer, then we will have the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Stone. All right, and then we'll move on from there.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Can I introduce
you know
Pastor Corey? Yes,
Oh, I'm glad you told me, because I didn't know that. They didn't even send me a note. Usually I get a little note saying, because I did that with Commissioner Stone. That was her pastor. So,
yes, sir.
So since you know him, let
Yes,
him
sir.
do an introduction.
So Pastor Corey and his wife, Pastor Tamika, pastor Hope City Church, which is located in the beautiful, beautiful 6th District of Chatham County. And we appreciate you all there. I know they made it here from Jacksonville about 2014 in following God's vision to plant a church here. And that church has been very successful, starting from a couple members to a couple hundred members now. And tonight, they'll be celebrating their 10-year anniversary. I look forward to joining you all, and I appreciate you all for what you're all doing for the 6th District, especially because y'all are over by my hood. I appreciate y'all. But also the programs at the church has very informative, very young church congregation, so I've been very impressed with that. So I hope that I did you enough justice, so I will now turn the floor over to Pastor Corey from the Hope City Church.
Thank you, sir. I think you did an excellent job, and to our Chairman Alice, thank you guys for this opportunity to stand before you today to share what I believe can be an encouraging and inspiring word. I would say out the gate, I had the opportunity to stand in the same position 10 years ago, literally when I first moved from Jacksonville here to Savannah. And so 10 years later, my wife, actually then my son and daughter, us four, and 600 people later, showing up every Sunday morning in 3 services at Hope City Church is absolutely an amazing thing to watch and to see. Over the past year or so, I taught a message entitled, How to Give Your Marriage a Fighting Chance. And I took that same message and how to give your son a fighting chance, how to give your city a fighting chance. And I kind of just want to use that same thought today as we go into this new year of how we can give our city a fighting chance. And one scripture, if it's okay, I'd like to read with that. And excuse me if I did not follow protocol and miss anyone. I'm so non-denominational. I don't know how some of that stuff go.
We don't worry about it.
But I do believe you guys will be encouraged and inspired by the word I will share. Luke chapter 6 says this here, and why call you me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? Whosoever cometh to me and heareth my sayings and does them, I will show to you who he is like. He is like a man which builds an house, and he digs deep, and laid the foundation on a rock. And when the flood arose, the stream beat vehemently upon that house, and could not shake it, for it was founded upon a rock. But he that heareth and does not is like a man that without a foundation builds a house upon the earth, against when the stream did beat vehemently, and immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great. And one of the first thoughts I get from that on how we as a city, how you as commissioners can give our city, yourselves, your team, a fighting chance is, number one, is to follow the ways of godly counsel. You know, we need something, a power, a strength that is greater than our knowledge, greater than our wisdom, because when the storms come, it's not if the storm is going to come. It is when the storms do come, how will you be able to stand? How will you be able to represent? How will you be able to speak in the midst of those pressures? And in the midst of a ever-changing culture and society, we must understand a few things, that without truth, we are corrupt. Without grace, we are condemned. Without truth, we become worldly. Without grace, we become judgmental. Truth without grace is mean, and grace without truth is meaningless. And I say that to say this here: grace invites us to be free so that the truth can set us free. It's not a matter of us always just speaking truth, or grace. We need both grace and truth in a community and a city that need individuals like yourself to help us make this city what we all believe and desire for it to be. And just three things I want to give you, and I'll be done. Number one, follow the ways of godly counsel. I continue to pray for you guys, hope for the best, as the pressures of our city and community and the demanding requests of the people who have you in these seats can sometimes be extremely overwhelming. They can have expectations that sometimes don't even make sense. And I know this because being a pastor of a church, everybody has their expectations, their desires, the things they want. But at the end of the day, you guys are sitting in the hot seats, and you have to make decisions based on insight and data that we sometimes are not aware of. So follow the ways of godly counsel in the midst of that. Number two, dig deep and lay the foundation on a rock. Dig deep and lay the foundation on a rock. I thought about sand. Sand is not secure, it's faulty, it's not solid, but a rock is solid, it's trustworthy, it's supporting, it has endurance. And find the foundations of what you guys standing on, the principles, the values. Those things will ensure that we do and make the right decisions for our community. And then number three, expect storms, but anticipate victories. It's going to be storms in 2024. I promise you, they are probably already hitting your desk, and they're going to come from every direction. Again, ask me how I know, because they're hitting me from every direction. But I look at our church right now, 10 years later, God is doing some absolutely amazing things. And it's not about the number of people that's attending our church on Sunday morning now. It's about the stories that we're hearing of transformed lives, seeing marriages being restored, seeing people coming into a faith or a deeper faith, seeing children and students just finding something greater than social media to find a confidence and a hope. So in the midst of the storms that will come, it is my hope and my desire that you will anticipate victory. One thing to understand about a storm, that both of the houses looks the same before the storm. But both houses in the story, they look the same. But the difference is when the storm came, only one house will be able to stand. And so my prayer, my hope for each of you, as you're sitting there today, you represent houses, and I pray that you'll be able to stand in the midst of any opposition, any pressures that may come your way. Let us pray.
Maybe saying,
Father, we thank you so much for this opportunity. I thank you so much for this opportunity just to speak into the lives of these your people, to add some level of value to this meeting, to this conversation on today. I speak strength, I speak wisdom, I speak counsel, and just encouragement of the hearts and minds of these individuals in this space on today. I don't know the mountain, I don't know the valley, I don't know the specificity of what they may be dealing with right now, but I do know that your grace is sufficient and that you can give them a peace that surpasses all of their understanding. So today, grant them that peace today, and God, allow them to do what they have been called and commissioned to do in this season with a spirit of excellence. We honor you now. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
amen. Commissioner Stone.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. To Pastor Williams. See, it showed up. See, it showed up, but I'm glad Commissioner Whiteley knew, all right, so he could fill in on that. But one of the things I want to say on here now, I read everything they give me, and the one thing that caught my eye was that you enjoy cooking. I pastor St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, so me and you got to get together so I can enjoy your cooking.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
I was this close to being on the F for the food, Chef Gordon Ramsay's cooking network about 3 years ago. I fell short about one particular thing, but yes, I cook that good, sir, so be careful what you ask for.
And don't worry now, I'm not coming to try to outcook you now. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is being invited to dinner. Especially if you cook shrimp Creole. You cook shrimp Creole, when you cook it, invite me over and I'll come, all right? And I'm not gonna bring Commissioner Whiteley with me either because I don't want him eating. But I saw that thing say you enjoy cooking. I said, oh boy, I wonder what's his favorite dish. And so I can be invited to get your favorite dish, and especially if it's shrimp Creole. And the staff know what I mean when I say that, all right? But listen, we thank you for coming with us today and for giving us your inspiration, and we'll take your inspiring words as we move forward in carrying out the business of this county, all right? Thank you again for gracing us with your presence. Having said that, now we may have the roll call.
Chester A. Ellis, Chairman.
Present.
Helen L. Stone, District 1, Vice Chairman.
Present.
Kenneth A. Adams, District 8, Chairman Pro Tem.
Present.
Melinda Scott Hodge, District 2.
Present.
Bobby Lockett, District 3.
Present.
Patrick K. Farrell, District 4.
As soon as it's Mike.
I'm here, thank you.
Tanya Milton, District 5.
Present.
Aaron Whiteley, District 6.
Here.
Dean Kicklighter, District 7.
Here.
All right, now let us turn it over to Commissioner Middleton, and she will introduce our youth commissioner for today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have today Ms. Brooklyn Howes, who is a junior at Allens High School and an aspiring veterinarian. She loves animals. And we're so glad to have you here today. And what we want you to do is to be involved and hear what we're saying and ask any questions if you have any, and definitely participate in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and please, ma'am, feel free to take part. Just raise your hand in case I'm busy doing something else. Somebody will catch it, and they'll let me know that you want to have something to say on any topic that we have on the agenda, all right? Thank you, ma'am. With that, let us go to proclamations and special presentations. Presentation on Healthy Savannah by Mr. Turner, Deputy Director of the Healthy Savannah, all right, Community Health. Mr. Turner, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
My name is Armand Turner. I am Deputy Director for Healthy Savannah. Presenting with me today will be our Executive Director, Paula Chrysler, and our Nutrition Manager, Ruby Castro. I also want to take the time to acknowledge any of our board members or supporters from Healthy Savannah. Please just wave your hand. Thank you. I do have some handouts for you all as well. Let's see if we can pass those around.
Yeah, if you just give it to Janice right there, she give it to us.
Thank you so much. So we'll be presenting on the Savannah Chatham Food Policy Council. This is something that has been a part of Healthy Savannah's history, something that we're very proud of and we're excited about bringing back in a major way. So we want to give you all an overview of what we've done to get to this point and some of our hopes for the future and how you all can support us in those efforts. I'll let Ruby start us off.
So the mission of the Food Policy Council is really to improve the food resources we already have here in Savannah, to start addressing things like nutrition insecurity, and really overall help to increase the well-being of Chatham County residents. So in all of this work, we really want to ensure that equity is the center of all of this work. We want to ensure that we are making policies that are equitable, to ensure that all constituents in Chatham County receive the resources that they need that's specific to their community. So some of our focus with this is obviously identifying and addressing what some of those major concerns are in Chatham County, the major food system priorities, and really moving forward to ensure that we are working on those. And in that, we want to ensure that we're advocating for policies that are focused around equity, that really start to move forward in the space of improving the food system here in Savannah and building on the resources that we already have. As well, we want to ensure that we're doing all of this through collaboration. As you saw, we have many supporters with us today, and we want to ensure that we have collaboration not only with the community, but with local government as well, and then lots of different food experts here in Savannah and Chatham County that can provide their expertise and what they've learned and what they're learning from the community, so that all of this is informed by the community. And in this process, as I mentioned, Healthy Savannah always ensures that community is at the center of the work that we do. We want to listen, we want to learn, we know we don't have all the answers, and we want to hear from the community on what their major needs are so that we can be focused in our efforts going forward and really share back that information to ensure that we're moving in a direction that is good.
So as Ruby mentioned, we're extremely community driven with this initiative. And over the past year or so, one of our major goals was to meet with as many community members as possible. So we met with about 7 different community meetings at different community centers, including Garden City, Thunderbolt, Georgetown, East Side, West Side, and South Side of Savannah. And we got some terrific feedback. So the areas of opportunity that we identified probably are no surprise to you all. They're food access, affordability of food, transportation to and from places where you can buy fresh, nutritious food, as well as trust issues with different organizations and entities that work in this field. So some of the community organizations we've collaborated with thus far include Big Green, the School Gardens, Farm Truck 912, which is through the Forsyth Farmers Market, the Public School System, SCAD, and Second Harvest Food Bank, and many more. Here's a screenshot of some of the different entities and organizations that we've collaborated with over our 16 plus years. I'm sorry. There's probably Chatham County somewhere in here, but we're very proud of the collaborations that we've been able to bring forth. So some of the resources that we're hoping to expand on: embrace diversity. So our group that we met with, our Food Policy Council that we've identified thus far as extremely diverse as far as the areas they work in and they excel in. Organizational support. So we want to foster collaboration and support from all organizations across the county. And we want to harness the power of the community voice. So as I mentioned, we're community driven, and this entire initiative, we want to be their idea, their work, and we're here to support. Furthermore, we want to promote equitable policies and ordinances. That's what this is all about. We want to find upstream solutions to food insecurity, and we believe this is the best way to go about it. And finally, we want to champion a resolution. So the passage, both at a city level and a county level, of a resolution that really outlines the responsibilities that we plan to take on, as well as acknowledging the important role that the Food Policy Council will play in bringing forth these initiatives and policies and ordinances, is a major part that we want to highlight. So we've already begun looking at opportunities to help fund this effort, including the White House National Strategy on Hunger and Nutrition and Health. That's through the CDC, as well as the Healthy Food Financing through the USDA. So we're looking to hear back on those opportunities soon, and hopefully we get some further good news. Now I'll hand it off to Paula.
you see the money item there, so that's my role. So thank you again for this opportunity. As you see, as alluded to by the Reverend, who looks like he is checked out, but at the same time, we're building a foundation here that is so important for that house to stay strong once it's built. And so that's where we need everyone's help here to make sure that happens. So the three of us up here, we've kind of done an algorithm, and so for an annual part of supporting the Savannah Chatham Food Policy Council is a portion of our staff time here, so that's the equivalent of $80,000 a year. And we're going to be asking Chatham County, the short story here is we do know that the 2025 blueprint is about ready to come out, and we know that the health priority, all four goals within that health priority, the Savannah Chatham Food Policy Council will absolutely support every one of those. So we will be focused on that, and we'll be applying for funds through the blueprint application. So that amount is $23,000. I'll give you that breakdown here in a minute. City of Savannah, we're going to go to them in February and ask for the same. So it's $126,000 per year that we feel will be a really strong support to build this house. So of the money that we're going to be asking for, there's community stipends. We will have 6 members from all those communities that we feel it's important to say thank you for your time and provide them some funding to be committed to the Food Policy Council. We will have a co-chair selected from one of those 6 folks from the neighborhoods out in the 3 in the county, 3 in the city, from all geographic areas. And then a Healthy Savannah coordinator to help facilitate all that, because not like we have more time in our schedules to do this. We want someone qualified to help support this. And then just a little bit for supplies. So that total ends up to be $46,000, and half that is $23,000. So I'm just going to say it's like we just need your help to support the building of the Food Policy Council. We're here, we're committed. All these folks in the audience are committed. I see more friends. We had folks from Chatham County at a robust meeting last night, and it was just amazing. And so there's a whole group ready to go, and we just ask you for your support. And of course, if you have any questions, we're here to answer them. Thank you.
Any commissioner have any questions? All right, Commissioner Milton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a question. I just have a comment on what a successful Savannah, healthy Savannah that you've created. I think, I don't know if I'm that old or not. Was I here when you started this?
Probably. We'll be 17 in May.
Well, she was here.
Barely. I like that one. But I think you've done an awesome job, and I'm really proud of Ahmad. How you just presented that whole thing. That was great. That was great. And I'm glad to be a supporter because I'm very aware of what health means and eating right and getting exercise and all that kind of stuff. I've lost family members because they weren't that concerned. So.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wiley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for your work here. Definitely impressive presentation. My question is, do you have any, off the top of your head, do you have any ideas of policies that would help when it comes to food resiliency and stuff like that in our community now?
Go ahead.
One of the things that continuously came up in our community feedback sessions was a desire to expand and better support the community gardens that a lot of neighborhoods have. So across the board, no matter where we were in the county, that was usually the first thing that came up, and it was always unprompted. So we'd like to address that as well, among other things, but the first thing that's come up so far is community gardens and how can we better support them and make them more sustainable.
All right, thank you. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense.
All right, any other questions? Commissioner Stone?
Just a comment. Your health is all you really have at the end of the day. So I appreciate the initiative, whether it's physical health, mental health, well-being in general, because we often get caught up in our day-to-day activities and don't take time out for our minds and our bodies. And I'm going to tell you, with the demand on health care today, the more personal responsibility that you can take for your health and well-being, the better off you will be. So thank you very much.
Commissioner Farrell?
Give me a few minutes to tap this thing. Get it going. There we go. Need a little jump start. So you mentioned community gardens, and I just wanted to point out that the county on the west side, and I think they've got a place on the east side where they do provide some space for community gardens. And our public works and parks have tractors. So one of the big problems, I guess, if you're a small gardener, is tilling the soil. So with the county having tractors and disc harrows and stuff like that, you know, prepping the soil in the spring or in the fall for fall crops, you might want to have a conversation where we could, you know, have some land available and some resources so that it's more a matter of, you know, putting the seed in the ground and kind of watching it grow and kind of nurturing it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
But take some of the hard part off your back.
Any other Commissioner Hahn?
Yeah. So can you explain to those who do not fully understand what food scarcity and those issues are? Because I think generally people can't grasp if they've not experienced food deserts, they don't generally understand what that means.
Yeah, so the general definition of a food desert or food apartheid, as we've become calling it, is living in an area that's over a mile away from the nearest grocery store. So oftentimes we live in an area, if we're that far from a grocery store, we're forced to just eat what's in our area, which may be fast food, which may be the gas station or any other possible unhealthy options. And so we want to change that. We want to figure out ways that we can either get people to the nutritious food or bring that food to them.
All right, Commissioner Milton again.
One last thing, thank you, Mr. Chairman. One last thing is the gardens are incredibly important. It's nothing like fresh vegetables. And I know that there's a garden that was in, I ain't gonna tell you where it was. That's my private. But I would go get greens every other day. And it was the best. I know Miss Betty, who's back there in the 5th District, she's looking to build on her garden. We've been having conversations about the garden, so I'm hoping that this will be an inspiration that we can continue to get it going. Thank you.
Thank you. We're absolutely excited to get that initiative up and going and look for ways to make them more sustainable, and then look for other options and policies that we can pass that'll have upstream, you know, widespread solutions to food insecurity.
All right, India. Thank you all for what you do. Thank you for working with our communities and as we go forward. All right? As we move.
Chairman.
Thank you all. As we move on, we get a proclamation congratulating Michael Blakely on his retirement from the Chatham County Engineering Department. Yeah. 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 The rest of you engineers are back over there, stand up. I want them to see y'all. See, because we don't have people a lot of times, especially commissioners they don't visit the 4th floor. All right? And now Mike knows I'm gonna read this, but he knows what I've already said to him. Back in 2021, when I first became chairman, I had one of my major concerns were, as I campaigned, was about flooding throughout all of Chatham County, all right? And the first time the managers and those brought Mike in to meet with me, and Mike said that this was the first time in 20 years that he had been here that anybody paid attention to what he does, all right? And I thought we were getting ready to work something out, and I'd gone and repurposed some funds, and then all of a sudden this week I come back this week, and here goes the retirement papers. What the world? But anyway, the County of Chatham, Georgia proclamation. Whereas every day, residents throughout Chatham County benefit from the decisions and the commitment of the Chatham County employees, and in that respect, we salute Michael Blakely. And whereas Michael was raised in Waterloo, South Carolina, and he earned his Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering Technology from, I can't pronounce that name of that school now, Southern what?
Southern Tech. Southern
No,
Tech.
Southern Tech, you know,
Yes.
it's now Kennesaw State though.
Yes.
All right, okay. But I couldn't remember, I couldn't pronounce what that was before then. Whereas Michael began his employment with Chatham County on June 1, 1998, as a road pre-construction manager in the Department of Engineering. And now look where he is. Amen. That whereas through his extensive knowledge of floodplain management, Michael proudly retired on January the 5th, 2024, as Chatham County first floodplain administrator. Now, therefore, I, Chester Ellis, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners of Chatham County, do hereby salute Michael Blakely for more than 25 years of service to the citizens of Chatham County and extend best wishes for continued success in all endeavors, and express our hope for his continued health, happiness, prosperity during his retirement. In witness whereof, I hereto set my hand and cause the seal of Chatham County, Georgia, to be affixed this 19th day of January 2024. Mr. Blakely, reluctantly, I'm giving you the mic. Because I don't think, and I'm not dealing with what your age is, but you look too young to retire. Put it that way. Isn't that the good way to say it? You look too young to retire, and we just got some work we just want to start doing, and I'm looking for you to. So one thing you cannot do from this commission is he can still keep his county phone. We got his number. All right, I just want to make sure, listen, I'm happy that you're retiring because you want to retire, but I'm not happy because we're in the midst of getting some of the flood things that we have put in place done, all right? Whether we're talking about the $1.4 million that we're going to spend on Burnside Island or the $4 million that we're going to spend throughout Chatham County dealing with the flooding issues here and dealing with the drainage here. But I'm happy that you see fit that you're at your retirement. And so the mic is yours.
Thank you, sir. I do want to say, I want to compliment you on my age. I did receive my red, white, and blue Medicare card last month, so it is official.
It is official.
Yes. But I tell Suzanne Cooler repetitively that this has been the best job that I've ever had. She's the best boss that I've ever had. And I want to thank Chatham County for the experiences. It all started with Al Bungard, who got me into floodplain management in the first place. And it just went from there. So it has been a whirlwind of a career. It feels like it blew by. I had a good time, but I'm also looking forward to the future as well.
Ms. Suzanne, you want to say something?
Sorry, if I may.
No, be sorry.
I just want you to understand the level of effort that Michael Blakely put into this program. He set his sight on improving our CRS rating. He got us as far as we can go with the prerequisites that are required and things that are outside of his control. And he got us to a class 5. And then he said, I got us where I can get us, and I'm retiring, and we won't fault him for that. But you just have to understand that not just the good that he's done for Chatham County, he is a rock star in the industry. You can go to any conference or anywhere and talk to anybody about floodplain, and they'll say, Chatham County, you must know Michael Blakely. And I have been at conferences where other people have been presenting, and they have used his name and said, this is a rock star in the industry, and I'm just like, hey, I know that guy. And he has won multiple national and state awards in the industry.
and I just can't keep saying that. And we have turned the program over to good hands, so we're in good shape, but he did get us here, and we are very thankful for that, and I have a personal place in my heart for him because he's one of the few people that were here when I started, and he knows that. So I just wanted you to know that it's more than just he's been here for 25 years. He has been here and he has rocked it for 25 years.
Amen. And let me say, no, we don't come over, and let me say this now. Mike was the first one to get Chatham County introduced to NORAD and as well as NASA.
Yes.
We met over at the DeSoto Hilton with them, so that we know now that we can call NORAD and we can call NASA to get flooding information and get things done. And so, you know, you just have to know that when Suzanne says a rock star, listen, when you get you can get personal calls to folks at the top of NASA and NORAD, you rocking. Commissioner Kicklighter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say thank you, Mr. Blakely. Mr. Blakely was here, started here probably about a year before I did, so we've been here a long time together, and I've witnessed and I appreciate and I credit you largely a big part of things for why West Chatham County does not go underwater every time it rains hard. You did quite a bit for the district out there and the whole county as well, and I appreciate it. And I guess I agree with you. So you were saying basically with Suzanne being the best, that she's a lot, that Al Bungard's a lot sweeter than Suzanne is? Is that
I'm not going to go there.
Al was great too, but yeah, he probably wasn't the sweetest. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, any other commissioner?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yes,
Mr.
I
Manager.
want to also thank Michael. We go back a long way, and I've watched him during his career. But citizens of Chatham County, they also need to understand that that gentleman is one of the reasons why our insurance rates are as cheap, our flood insurance rates are as cheap as they are, because of what Michael's put into place. So he's quietly worked all these years to get the county up to the standard, and he's to be commended. I was talking to the county attorney. We're really going to miss him. I think we've got a good team in engineering, and I think we've got capable people to fill in. But as I said, he's going to retire, and he's got some other things he's going to do. But we have his number, so if we, I don't hesitate to call people back if we need to. So he's there. He's there.
You start your consulting firm?
Oh, no.
The price just went up.
But you don't change your phone number.
Oh, no, sir. I will not.
Well, thank you so much for the years of service that you have given to Chatham County and things that you have brought to us that was not here when you started, but through your due diligence and through your hard work, we now are connected nationally and globally to what's going on, and especially as we embark on our flooding program that we're doing here to even make those insurance rates and things even much better for the citizens of Savannah. And so throughout this whole process, I will always say, because of Michael, all right? Thank you so much for what you've done. And now what I want to do, Ms. Cooler, if you would come and stand, and Mr. Manager, if you go stand next to Mike, all right? And then I want the engineer, excuse me, I want the engineer and the crew to come and get behind them, all right? Y'all come stand behind the manager and yeah, everybody above there who's in engineering. This is a group thing. Yeah. All right, now make sure we get a group shot. Yeah, get them all of them together there. Yeah, make 2 rows, and some of you stand sideways so that Mike, you stay square. All right, and let the rest of them stand sideways so we can make sure to get everybody in the shot. Thank you, and we're gonna hold you to that statement. You'll be around. All right, I'll call on the manager now as we go to our Employee Service Award.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to ask the Human Resources team to come forward as we recognize our employees who've had various years of county service.
Thank you. It is a beautiful day for recognition, and we're thankful to our board for setting aside this time in their meeting to recognize employees who are celebrating milestone anniversaries. Here in the first two rows, together, we have a very small group of just 10 individuals who aggregately are celebrating 130 years of service. Yes, so deserving, 130 years. So we will start with Lori Lonson with the Juvenile Court with 25 years of service. Marlon Knight with our Victim Witness Program, also with 25 years of service.
Yeah.
Michael Holmes with our Sheriff's Office, 15 years of service. Miss Sandra Moore with Administrative Services with 15 years of service. Corporal LaShawnia Holmes with the Sheriff's Office with 15 years of service. Lindsay Gorko with ICS with 10 years of service. And don't sit down, Drew, because Lindsay Strickland also has, with ICS, 10 years of service. Don't sit down, Drew. Pelage Aman with ICS also has 5 years of service. You can sit down. Chelsea Roberts with Juvenile Court with 5 years of service.
And I'm going to butt in before she sit down. Chelsea was one of my basketball players. I coached her in basketball at Johnson.
And rounding out our total of 130 years, Miss Barbara Gwynn with Building Safety with 5 years of service.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, Commissioner Kicklighter.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to call Mr. Marlon Knight up to the podium real quick.
Yeah.
Who's that? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Marlon, how old are you now?
I am 47 years old.
All right, I feel like Marlon and I grew up together. We both started here about the same time, and I just kind of want to brag on Marlon a minute. He started out as a courier for Chatham County, delivering our mail to us, all of the county commissioners. And during this time, I've watched this young man who's only a few years younger than me. But I watched him put himself through college, graduate from college, work his way up very high through Chatham County. He's the example of what hard work, determination, and just being an overall good person, what you can do and how you can advance here with Chatham County. If you give us a brief, just tell us where you started and what your steps were, Marlon, when you got the degree, what it was in, real quick like that.
Yes, sir. First of all, I practiced this speech for years, so, first of all, good morning, Mr. Chairman, good morning, commissioners, good morning to those in attendance. When I first started Chatham County, actually I was in Superior Court Administrative Office, then I came to the mailroom. I would always be told by everyone you need to go to school, you need to go to school, you need to go to school, because I had the sports dreams and the writing dreams. So I started attending Savannah Tech, and I made a promise to myself that once I got in school, I was not going to stop. So I was in management and supervisory development. So I was an honor student at that. I was in a number of honor societies, and then after I left there, I attended St. Leo University. I went to the Florida campus, then I came back here and went to the satellite campus here. I was the president of the Human Service Club. The major was human service with a minor in psychology. I continued to be the president. I continued to sit on the boards with psychology individuals. When we had kids who would come to the county, I would speak to those groups. When we had the summer program that was here, I spoke to a number of those groups. So in the community, became a coach, working with my son and my daughter and other kids in the community, and also a mentor. So Chatham County basically raised me. Chatham County, to go through and have the advantage that so many employees didn't have. I was able to go to different departments. I was able to talk to those employees on what some consider the lowest levels, all the way to the highest levels, because I never changed who I was. My former supervisor, Mr. John Savage, who was here, always said, Marlon, don't never sell your soul to the highest bidder. So I always had to be genuine with myself. I always kept it real. A lot of times people weren't going to be happy with you because you didn't go in with the mold, but I stayed true to who I was. I was fair, I'm respectful, and I'm also the type of person that's tell you the truth and love. So that's who I am standing before you. I'm a father. I continue to do my part. My children, I watched them grow. One graduated from high school and college now in South Carolina. One is at Calvary. The other's at Hurd. So I continue to do my part. Like I said, like Commissioner Kicklighter said, I would come when I deliver my mail, and his son would be outside I'll practice with him shooting baskets, throw the ball, whether it's baseball, football. When I go to Commissioner Farrell's house, I do the same thing with his kids, and I give those encouraging words. I talk to Commissioner Stone, we'll sit there and talk. So many times I watch these kids grow, go to college, better themselves, and I will see them like they're my siblings. So that's the person you have before you, somebody who's dedicated with Chatham County, someone who doesn't slack on the job. Many times as an employee, we run into what I consider tests. And in those tests, you might have people that don't understand you because their personality is not like yours. And sometimes it made me want to throw the towel in. Like, I can't do this. I used to ask Mr. Savage all the time, Mr. John, I don't know how you do it. How do you get to 40 years? How do you do this? But what happened every day, it was something new that was burning inside of me to show me the reason why to come here. And when I would talk to, you know, just different people over time, there's so many people that I talk to. I watch people retire. I watch people leave here. I watch people, you know, go to funerals and things of that nature. But they all said to me, Marlon, don't give up. Don't quit. So that's the person you have standing in front of you.
Hey, we appreciate you, my friend.
And I'm glad you're not giving up. Let's go to Commissioner Stone.
All right, Marlon, I have the picture of you in your cap and gown still.
I do too.
And I just want you to know that the one thing my children always asked was why they couldn't have tennis shoes that looked like Marlon's. Marlon had the brightest colored tennis shoes when he would bebop up to the door. So you never knew what colored tennis shoes Marlon would have on at that particular day. And I'll round this out by saying Marlon does not like raccoons.
All right. Any other? All right, Commissioner Farrell.
Yeah, Marlon, it's so good to see you. It's been a while. You're starting to get the same hair and color as me. It's been a few minutes, but by far my favorite courier of all time. You're the superstar, the MVP, the everything. And I was thinking those same thoughts with you and my little boys had grown up and left home, but seeing you and way up here and then way down there, and they could hardly throw the basketball and get it to the rim, and you just about jumping up there and dunking it and stuff. And they're like, oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, those were some good times, and
Yes,
and always so prompt and courteous, and all the attributes you could ever want from anybody. And it's such a pleasure seeing you at my home constantly over the years. When you were in that in that job at that time. So so glad that you're progressing and moving and shaking and setting the world on fire, and I'm behind you 100%, and keep on keeping on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chairman,
Yes.
I just want to end it by saying, man, I'm proud to know someone of your character, and I didn't even realize until now, we could just make him the motivational speaker and send him around staff, man. I didn't know that.
Another spot for him
I
in
knew
this
he was
place.
one of the
Human
nicest,
resources.
greatest, kindest, and hardworking people that I've known and appreciated. And I was thinking about the kids, you would always treat them just very nice and kind and everything. And we appreciate you, man. It's
Thank you.
really good to know you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, and to all of us.
And thank all of you, and congratulations to all of you for
And
the
to all
time
of
y'all
you.
been here.
To all of you who get your service awards today, we thank you for the job you do, all right? And just to let you know now, just yesterday, I got a phone call from a lady who just wanted to let me know how courteous and how loving and how caring that folks were with them on the phone, because she called about her fire fee. And she said, I had fire in me, but they settled her down and taught her how to do it. So constantly we get those calls, or we get emails from about all of you from Public Works and all the rest of how the service that you're rendering. And I'm just glad that as you go forward, you painting Chatham County in a gorgeous light, a light that our community would love to see. So again, let me say thank you and congratulations on what you have accomplished, all right? And also now, before they leave, let me recognize the sheriff, all right? And also our clerk, all right, from Superior Court. Is there any? Okay, I want to make sure I don't miss none of the other council. Thank you all for being here as well, all right, as we go forward. Okay. All right, we're going to chairman's items. Yeah. All right. Mhm. Okay, under chairman's items, number one, elect Commission's Vice Chair Helen Stone. May I have a motion? There's a second? Properly motion is second that Helen Stone be elected the Vice Chair. You ready for the question? Please cast your votes. Okay. B, elect Chairman Pro Tem Dean Kicklighter. Is there a motion?
Second.
Properly motion is second. You ready for the question? Please cast your votes. There are no commissioner items. We go to the items that's on the table will remain on the table as we still need to get some legal clarifications. All right, so we go to items for individual actions. Request approval of the following budget amendments and transfer. One, in the general fund, A, transfer $40,580 from contingency to project management office for building rent. B, transfer $38,860 from contingency to voter registration for building rent. Two, in the confiscated revenue fund, transfer $28,000 from contingency to CNT operation vehicle account. Three, in the multi-grant fund, increase revenues and expenditures, $293,941 for the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council bias grant. Four, in the Capital Improvement Program, increase revenues and expenditures, $1,006,968 in the Local Maintenance and Improvement Project funds for received from the Georgia Department of Transportation. B, transfer $75,000 from contingency to establish the Hutchinson Island Parcel 7 remediation program. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Properly motion is second. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. All right. And then we come down to the Chatham County Police Department. All right, Chief Hadley coming before us.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Before I get started on the formal presentation, Commissioner Stoney had sent me an email just recently this morning on that accident. As we went back and looked through our hit and run logs, that was, just for your information so you can talk to your constituent, is that that driver fled the scene. We were unable to identify that individual. They were South Carolina tags.
You talk
They were-
soft, so you got to get to the
Sorry,
closer.
there were South Carolina tags. We sent a follow-up letter to the registered owner of those tags. We did not get any response from that individual. It's really kind of a dead end in terms of
So
trying to.
what happens in a case like that? I mean, just so, we have so many people now, you know, in our community from out of state, and when an accident occurs like that, so there's no way to follow up with them?
Well, depending on the severity, I mean, if it was a traffic fatality, I mean, we would obviously expend a lot more resources, you know, relative to trying to determine who the driver was. As many of us know, no offense to South Carolina, but it's very easy to get your car registered there. That's why we see many South Carolina tags here in Chatham County. We're certainly close to the border. In a case like that, it was no injuries, things of that nature. We sent the follow-up letter, we didn't get any response. It kind of, for us, based on our limited capacity to follow up relative to that, it kind of ends right there.
So then it would be up to the individual whose automobile has been damaged, their insurance to pay for it, and then subsequently their rates might go up because somebody in South Carolina can't be tracked and held responsible for an accident that was their fault.
Essentially, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Can you give me a little background on what y'all?
I'll fill you in. I don't want to take up everybody's
Okay.
time, but this was, someone stopped me in the grocery store and really was quite upset about it. And I thought, well, that doesn't make sense. And then now you're telling me that this is the way it is. So beware, y'all, if you get hit by an out-of-state or South Carolina tag and, you know, it's not catastrophic and your vehicle is damaged, then it's going to be up to your insurance, which is really quite sad.
Yes, ma'am.
But thank you for the information. I will pass it on to this gentleman, but I really do feel badly about it.
And if you want to give us his name, we'd be willing to explain that, so you don't have to try to translate that for him. So if you want to send me his contact information, we'll make sure we make contact with him.
Did I send you his information?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
I'll track it down.
Okay.
And find it for you.
All
But
right.
thank you very much for, I know that you have better things to do, but, you know, it just really upset me that this is the way it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I wanted to kind of capture the last 5 years relative to our overall crime. We're approaching our 6-year anniversary here on February 1st as we reconstituted the Chatham County Police Department. And this gives a broad overview of our experience relative to crime. You can see kind of it trended, you know, kind of static. 18 and 19 dipped during that first real heavy COVID year, and ticked back up in 21 and 22. We did have a reduction in crime, overall crime in 2023 by about 8.9%. And that's with kind of a stabilized staffing, and we'll get down to the staffing numbers towards the end of the presentation. This represents the violent crime from 2018 to 2013. You can see to the left the index relative to ag assault, homicide, robbery, and sex crimes. We had aggravated assaults generally around with weapons. They ticked up in 18, 19 to 20, spiked a little bit in 21, came back down in 22, and then kind of went back to 2021 levels for all of last year. We did have, as you saw, we did have a shooting last evening over on Quaco Road. The chairman had asked me what the genesis of that was. We're still investigating that. It appears to be a beef between younger adults. We did make 2 arrests. Detectives made the scene, worked really hard, worked until midnight, served a couple search warrants, were able to locate the weapon involved. So a lot of kudos go out to CID for their hard work last night. We do have 2 people in custody for that. This represents the property crime from 2018 to 2023. I know we have talked around shoplifting in 2022 was very elevated, as you can see, from 235 in 2021 to 414 in 22. It came back down to 309 in 2023. Some of the other theft from autos dipped down from last year from 421 to 318 total incidents, and many of the others are fairly normalized experience over the last 5 years. 2023, if I'm going to talk to you just about last year, our annual Part 1 crime, we were down 8.9%, although we did have an increase in gun assaults, and we're going to drill down on that in the next slide. We have a little bit of increase in violent crime in 2023, but overall we were down just shy of 9%. Moving on, gun-related assaults, ag assaults and homicides with firearms in 2023. Aggravated assaults with guns have increased in the last 6 years. Total aggravated assaults and homicides with firearms were 101 in 2023, 96 ag assaults and 5 homicides relative to a firearm being used. Firearm discharged at a person were 36, at an occupied dwelling 11, where someone was pistol whipped 3 and pointed or used in a threatening manner is 51. So just that alone, just someone using a gun to intimidate more than anything, was about half of the experience that we had. Moving on, this represents the Part 1 crime in the various beats throughout the unincorporated parts of Chatham County, and you can see your reflective districts in that. 291 in beat 9, 441 in beat 8, all the way down to 19 in beat 6. So kind of varied throughout east side and west side Chatham County. Our current staffing level for CCPD, we currently have 128 sworn positions out of 160 that are budgeted. That's about a 20% vacancy rate. We've stayed steady at that vacancy rate within a number or two over the last 3 years. We've talked about the challenges relative to recruitment and retention. Our experience is no different than Savannah PD, Chatham County Sheriff's Office, and other law enforcement, not only in this region, but nationally. The commission has been extremely supportive in terms of looking at pay and compensation and benefits for our law enforcement here in Chatham County. We're very appreciative of that. We're just trying to keep up the pace with other competing agencies. We're all fishing from the same pond with the same pole a little bit and a little bit of the same lure. So we've worked really hard at maintaining our staffing levels. We have not lowered standards. I'd rather go short than hire someone that I wasn't quite confident in. This is a very important job. Police officers have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of powers, and we want to make sure that they're the type of people of character and ability to go out and deliver law enforcement services to the best of our abilities. Moving on, we had some community engagement initiatives over the last several months. During the holidays, we fed 13 needy families with donations that we were able to get from CCPD and community members, put them together in packages and delivered them to those families over the holidays. So we're very thankful for that and thankful to them. It's a great exercise. It's a great way to humanize the police department and spread some goodwill out there in the community. We also did Shop with a Cop in association with the Ronald McDonald House. It's where we get about $100, a gift card. We go to could go to Target, could go to Walmart, could get any number of big box stores, and these kids get to partner with a police officer and ride around in a little buggy and buy some presents for their family or themselves. So it's another great exercise in community engagement. And to me, the bread and butter is what those officers do every day out there in their beats, getting out of their car and engaging people, looking for those opportunities, and kind of letting these young individuals or even the citizens that, we're human. We want to make sure that they feel safe and they can provide us with information that's going on in their neighborhood. So a lot of thanks goes out to the officers that recognize those opportunities and get out of their car, remove that barrier and humanize themselves. And I've always thought that when you do that enough, it kind of the uniform and all the gadgets that go along with what we have to do kind of bleeds away, and we look at each other person to person, man to man, woman to woman. And we can solve problems that way in a very real way. So thanks to the officers that take that initiative and get out and do that. And with that said, I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
All right, questions? Anyone? All right, Commissioner Whiteley? Okay.
Thank you, Chief Hadley. We appreciate your work. I just wanted to ask about, when it comes to the vacancies and whatnot, what are some efforts that we have going to try to recruit and retain?
Well, we partner with our military partners here in Chatham County, Fort Stewart. We have relationships with their, their services in which people are exiting the military, making sure that we're able to present what we have to offer as people are looking to get out of the military. We partner with our human resources. We go to career fairs. We have our own recruiting team, so we try to identify where we need to be and where we need to be at to put on the best face for CCPD. What I will say is, in terms of results relative to that, it's kind of a mixed bag. I'm just going to be completely straight up. I like to think that our best recruiters are our current employees who feel valued, that feel like the county supports them, that we're a good place to work, and they're out talking to individuals or run into individuals that are interested in law enforcement and say, hey, this is a great place to work. That's number one. Number two, I really think in conjunction with human resources is that we've really tried to streamline our process without cutting corners. You know, in today's day and age, I think with a certain generation, speed matters. Historically, and I've been in this business 33 years, we'd have a stack of applications and we'd wait till we got enough of them, right? And there'd be 30, 40, 50. Well, they'd be sitting there for a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and then we're going to call you back and say, we're going to set you up for an interview, we're going to do this. You can't do that because they're moving on. Folks are moving on. And so we've been successful in that Commissioner, if you applied today, which I would encourage you to do so. I know you got a gun, so we can talk about that. But you're going to get a call within, let's say it's Friday, you're going to get a call Monday or Tuesday, and we're going to set you up for an interview within 48 hours. You have to be fast. You have to get folks on the hook. We can get someone through our process within 3 to 4 weeks and get them scheduled for an academy date, albeit they successfully pass all the processes. So, you know, we've worked with human resources extensively to try to streamline that so we can capture those individuals that we need to on the front end. And I would say the most repeated comment to why'd you choose Chatham County? Well, you called me back first. You know, because again, you know, whether it be Savannah PD, Sheriff's Office, us, some of the other PDs, you know, we pay relatively the same. We have relatively the same opportunities. So what are we going to do different to get people in the door aside from others? And I think that's what we do. You know, I think that has allowed us to keep us where we're at and not fall so far behind. What I will say is, and actually Commissioner Farrell had pointed this out at some time in a previous meeting, is that staffing level of 128 and 130, give or take, is the staffing level that was approved when we reconstituted the Chatham County Police Department back in 2017-18. We've added positions because we need additional capacity, and I have every bit of confidence we'll get there at some point. Traffic unit, our neighborhood liaison officers, and some of the other specialty units that we would like to, you know, populate as we go forward. But that level is the level that was budgeted for in 2017-18, and that's where we're at.
Gotcha. Now, can you speak to any efforts as it relates to just focusing on diversity on the force, making sure that not only the force but the leadership within the force matches the diversity of our community?
Yeah, I mean, we're very conscientious of that. I mean, what I will say is that our recruiting team is very diverse. You know, optics matter. You know, and who we send out to whatever job fair is vitally important because, you know, whether it be a female, whether it be an African American or Latino, they want to see people like them. Oh, I kind of look like that person, and I might look that way in that uniform. So we completely understand that. In terms of leadership, as we go forward, looking forward prospectively because of the way we built the department and hired at all different levels in 2017, that's all the way from myself, assistant chief, captains, lieutenants, and as we go forward, we have been very intentional about looking at our leadership going forward. Are we preparing them, and are they ready to move up and take on this department when I leave and other people leave? So what we do have is folks attending nationally recognized leadership training. The next individual to go to the FBI Academy, which only 1% of law enforcement gets to go that, is Lieutenant Craig Fields, African-American gentleman, retired military, fantastic individual. We have another Sergeant Sladen. You guys have seen him here, really big guy. He's in our internal affairs. He's set to go to the Police Executive Research Forum, Senior Management Institute of Policing, which is very prestigious and very academically rigorous. So I believe we've been very intentional about preparing our next generation of leaders and looking at the diversity in our department so it properly represents who we are here in Chatham County.
Right. Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate it. And just for the record, I didn't just mean race. I was talking about, you know, women.
Sure, absolutely.
And all of the other communities represented in Chatham County. My last question is, have you found the pay as a challenge or a barrier to either retaining or recruiting new officers?
I haven't found it to be well, I might not know on the hiring, because if someone chooses to go somewhere else, I may not know they chose to go somewhere else. I do think the county has been very intentional about being competitive with the other law enforcement agencies. And you guys have been great in approving that compensation. We have lost a few, I'm not gonna say a lot, but we have lost a few for pay reasons. We've actually had a few come back. They left for better pay, and they're like, that's not really, I mean, the pay was fine, but it's not really what I wanted. So they came back because they loved the job, and they felt Chatham County was a home. One of our local competitors, which is hard to compete with, is the ports. We have lost several officers out to the ports, and we may lose a couple more because they can go out there and make probably 30% more than what they're making with Chatham County. And that's not a knock on Chatham County. We just can't compete with that. I mean, that private-public partnership and you know, the funds that they have available to them and what they can offer is very difficult. I do think a barrier, and this is kind of a broader conversation here, is the housing. You know, if you look at an average rent of a decent, you know, 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment, let's just say you're gonna rent, that is probably one full paycheck of a starting officer's pay. So when you got a cell phone bill and you gotta pay electricity and you gotta buy gas and groceries, there's not a lot left over. And so I do think that's a challenge, and obviously with the growth here in Chatham County, Hyundai plant, all that's driving, you know, housing up, you know, it's kind of bleak, you know, relative to not only affordable housing for them in Chatham County or the ability to buy a home as they go forward. Now, I know we've instituted some home buying incentives for employees, and we're going to see what that experience will be as we go forward. But I do think that's a challenge for us, and that's not just law enforcement. That's just, you know, region-wide.
All right, well, thank you. Those are all the questions I had. I appreciate your service.
Yes,
Chief.
sir. Thank you.
All right, our youth commissioner.
Is it green?
Hello, I'm Brooklyn House from Youth Commission. My question was, just from like hearing like, in terms of breaking into cars and the stealing the guns issue, what, like, do you think it relates to the increase of, as you said, it was more gun violent crimes and everything? Do you think that's related, and what are y'all doing? Because it's largely affecting youth. So what are you doing in terms of that?
Well, I'll answer your first question first. It's somewhat hard to gauge whether or not those particular weapons that are stolen are being used in those crimes. We may not know that till later down the road, a year, 2 years from now, if we're able to, you know, recover those in some other crimes. So it may be hard to gauge that. I would say a certain percentage, yes, but to give you an exact, you know, roundabout figure would be very difficult. But I've always said if a criminal is breaking in a car and stealing the gun, the criminal's going to go use that gun in some other way or sell it to another person who may go use that. What we are doing, we try to bring public awareness. I've stood at this podium multiple times throughout the last 6 years talking about asking the community to lock their vehicles. It's very hard to break into a car nowadays. You know, some of the older ones, yes, you can't really jimmy a lock. There's tempered glass. It's hard to, even if you want to break the glasses, it's still pretty difficult. This is a completely preventable crime if individuals will just lock their cars and be cognizant and aware of that. And in addition to that, if you have a weapon that you keep in take it into your home at the end of the day, or when you're, you know, to keep it safe and for safekeeping. This year alone, or 2023, off the top of my head, I think we were around 80 weapons that were stolen from vehicles, and probably 98% of them were from unlocked vehicles. Completely preventable crime. That's just unincorporated Chatham County. If you look at City of Savannah and all the other agencies, you're probably upwards around 400 weapons in this county alone that are stolen from mostly unlocked vehicles. We've put signs in yards. We've raised public awareness. the commissioners here have spoken, you know, repetitively about it in their districts and on this dais here. So we try to just continue to raise public awareness. The media has covered it multiple times. So we just try to keep that message going and going and going.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for the question.
All right, Commissioner Milton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just curious, I know that you talked about the number of people that we don't have. Do we have a new Esquina?
We do not. I wish we did. We talked about Esquina the other day. Esquina White was our neighborhood liaison officer that left and went to the FBI, so very happy for her. She went on to somewhat bigger and better things, but we have not had the staffing to be able to have a neighborhood liaison officer on both sides of the county, east and west side. What we have done is we put someone in the behavioral health unit and also the homeless outreach coordinator. So the duties of the NLO kind of rests with the captains of those precincts to facilitate community engagement and the HOAs and things of that nature. But you can't replace Esquina very easily.
I miss her.
Yeah.
I miss having that other half.
Absolutely.
It's always been at neighborhood meetings and things of that nature, when we're in unincorporated Chatham County, having an officer that can come and speak to the audience is important.
Yep. Great conduit.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, let me just say, Chief, I was in meetings in Atlanta this past week, and the governor talked to us about, he was putting extra money in the budget for the state patrol because they too are suffering the same kind of, and going through the same kind of thing. And so in his proposed budget, he's giving them a raise and he's giving them the ability to go out and try to recruit. And the commanding officer said at that particular meeting, he said himself, you have to remember that we are trying to get officers from the same pool that police departments and sheriff departments and others, locals are trying to get it. So the pool is thin.
It is.
Right, and so we want to make sure that we all know that we are trying to do our best to make sure we cover those, because I'm still waiting on that motorcycle unit. Yeah, when we get it fully staffed, we're gonna have a traffic motorcycle unit, and I'm still waiting on them to be riding down the highway in their county on motorcycle.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, any other questions now for the chief? Thank you all for the department, and let them know how supportive we are, what they're doing, and how they're doing.
Yes,
All
sir.
right?
I sure will. Thank you very much.
All right. Let's call Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to ask Ms. Cooler to come to the podium. We're going to give you a brief SPLOS update, and she's going to run through these slides, and we're going to get more in detail when we do our next workshop. But I wanted her to kind of give you an update today, and any questions you have, just let us know, and we'll get those for you. Ms. Cooler?
Good morning.
Good morning.
As the county manager said, this is a brief update. My goal here is that you will be as proud of the SPLOS program as I am and as your engineering staff is. Chatham County is getting a lot done, and you will see that through the presentation. It's easy to focus on what's not done, but let's try to focus on what is done, because a lot is getting done. So we're going to take a quick look at the past year and our current projects and what we have on the horizon for future projects. So in 2023, we did complete several projects, the first of which was Lansing Avenue traffic calming, where we installed 7 speed tables. Engineering staff designed it and we procured the materials, but Public Works installed it. This was a way to get it done quicker and more cost efficiently, and they did a great job, and these are ways that we're looking to collaborate in order to bring those costs down and to get things done more rapidly. Willow Lakes, we did 2 projects in one here. One was a drainage project that reduced the water level of that pond at the entrance there at the top of the screen. What you see here is a split screen of before and after. It's kind of hard to zoom in because we covered the whole entire subdivision. We resurfaced every road in the subdivision. We rebuilt the entrance road and installed a sidewalk, which you can see there on the photo on the right. The total cost for this, for the drainage, was almost $700,000, and the total cost for the road work was a little over $1.26 million. Charlie Brooks Park, we're in substantial completion for that now. We added baseball, softball field. We added the parking lot you see there on the right. We added a multi-use field and a dog park. These costs for this were approximately $3.9 million. And this theme continues throughout, where on the left you see the before and on the right you see the after. The children's garden at the Coastal Botanical Gardens, we added the snake berm you see there in the center of the after photo. We added the outdoor kitchen that's to the left of the photo, and gardens and play structures and an amphitheater, and the total cost of construction cost of that was a little over $800,000. Frank Downing Fishing Pier was closed. If you're aware of that, they had to close it down for structural reasons. We had a consulting firm come in and evaluate and make suggestions. Those improvements were made. That's not a end-all be-all. It was a patch, if you must. It'll get us about 5 years more use out of it before we have to decide if we're going to rebuild them or just quit using them altogether. The total cost of that was a little over $100,000. We resurfaced 20 county roads for approximately 6 miles of roads resurfacing. I like this picture because it shows a before and after in the same picture. You can see where we have milled the asphalt and then relaid the new asphalt. The total cost of that was a little over $2 million. Other projects that weren't so easy to capture in before and after photos were we did a storm pipe replacement at Southbridge for about $80,000. We completed phase 2 of the West Chatham drainage study, which was a collaboration with CEDA to look at a regional stormwater approach to that West Chatham area. It's going to include collaboration with Effingham, Bloomingdale, Pooler, Chatham, Savannah. The total cost of that phase was $400,000. We completed, I didn't include it in there. Sorry, I went ahead. We completed Burnside drainage study, which was done by staff, and we've identified projects that are currently underway. McQueen's Trail, we finally completed the rehabilitation on that, which was a total of $2.5 million. And the coroner office build-out was completed in 2023, giving the coroner space in Garden City. They said be brief, so I'm talking fast. So under construction, Pinwaller sidewalk improvements, what we did, listening to Commissioner's request, we had resurfaced the entire trail, which is complete. We're currently under construction for sidewalk improvements and to add a flashing light at Concord and Pinwaller. We expect that those additional improvements aren't yet underway. We're working through some issues with permitting, but they will summer of 2024. This one is Johnny Mercer Boulevard at Lyman Hall. If you've been out to Wilmington Island, you've seen the curb work we've done so far. It's under construction to install a signal there. That is expected to be complete in April. Lewis Mills Branch Canal. Not a very attractive picture, but it shows you the limits of the canal that we're currently under construction to widen the canal and make drainage improvements in this area, which serves this area, which is kind of like the Westlake area, Garrard Avenue. The total cost of that contract was just under $1 million, and it's anticipated to begin actual construction. We've let the contract in February. Quaco Road clearing. We've done a good bit of clearing already. We started the clearing on Quaco Road so originally Quaco Road, if you're not familiar, was designed to be a 3-lane section roadway. The In anticipation of great utility relocations and extreme construction costs, we decided to go ahead and get the right-of-way cleared while consultants work on changing those plans to a 4-lane section. Once those should be complete and we'll be ready to let the roadway improvements themselves before the end of the year. Trial court building, in case you haven't noticed the big building as you enter the city. It's a 155,000 square foot building. It includes state court, jury assembly rooms. It's a whole new courtroom. It is under construction for just over $78 million, and completion is expected before the end of the year. Hutchinson Slip 1 dredging. I like this picture because it shows all the stuff that was in the slip on the left before we started and where we are today as of January 1st. All that stuff's out of the way. Unfortunately, while they were dredging, they ran into, as you know, sunken barge and more stuff that needs to be removed. So that work is continuing, but is scheduled to be complete in February. Nottingham, this is Nottingham Canal improvements, which is replacing undersized crossings and making widening and access improvements. So I'm going to discuss now things that we have under design, and as I get into this, I'm going to give you the anticipated bid year. Keep in mind as I go through this, these are things that we are currently working on based on previous priorities. So if you see on here and you're wondering, two things I should point out. These are only SPLOST. This is SPLOST update. They're only SPLOST projects. So if you see a project that you're like, hey, wait, I thought you were working on this, inquire with the county manager or ask. It could be that it's funded by something other than SPLOST and we are working on it. Also, if you see in here something that you're like, hey, where's this project or that project? Again, these are based on previous priorities. If you think something else needs to be prioritized, talk to the county manager and we'll discuss working that into the workflow. So we have lots of things that we expect to bid in 2024. I should also point out that we are down 2 senior engineers and we're working with limited staff and everybody is working as hard as they can. We had 2 more people other than Michael Blakely retire this past year. And so it's tough, but everybody is dedicated and determined to make it happen, and we're working as hard as we can, and it's happening. But keep that in mind that if you get to the end of 2024 and you're like, hey, what happened to this or that? And I say, well, we never got those positions filled, so we had to scale back our delivery. That might be what happened, but we're hoping not. This is stuff that we anticipate to happen with the current staff that we have. When we fill those positions, we're hoping to get more done. So I just wanted to let you all know that.
But you are advertising for them.
Yes.
Okay.
For drainage
I want to
and
make sure to
transport.
get that part too.
Those are being
That we
advertised.
do have advertising out for new engineers.
Yes, the ones that
fill those
retired.
vacancies, yeah.
Yeah, just the ones that retired. We have
Okay.
our senior drainage and our senior transportation engineer. We still have very competent and capable and hardworking staff that are making it happen. I'm not going to read all these, but again, these are things that we expect to happen in 2024. If you have any questions about anyone specifically, I'd be glad to answer those questions, but you don't need me to read to you, so I won't. And again, 2025, and again, these are things that are currently under design and or permitting and ready to go. And then in 2026, I should point out, because I know I have been asked several times, why are we waiting until 2026 to get these projects that are under design? When we accept federal funds, expect a 2 to 3 year process. Going through their process will cost us time. These things are going to take this much time. And I will say also the other things that extend to when we can go out to construction is right-of-way acquisition. When we run into right-of-way acquisition problems are difficult, and those things take a lot of time off a project. And then permitting, we're seeing that especially marsh permitting, DNR permitting is taking an extreme amount of time. And so when we run into those kinds and we have a lot of that on the coast, most of our drainage outfalls are to the marsh, so we get a lot of that. And those things also are what sets the schedule more than staff time or anything else. We do have these studies currently underway. These studies will identify future projects for safety and access. So we will see more projects as these things come to completion. Again, the things that I want to point out is if you see something or you know of something not on the list, notify the county manager and we'll look at making that more priorities. These are SPOS-only projects. I do want to point out that I know there's a lot of discussion and concern over engineering. We do have one of the best, if not the best, departments, our engineering offices in the state or more. And I will say we are doing excellent things. Jimmy DeLoach Parkway just recently won a statewide award for engineering, and that is going to be received next month, I believe, in Atlanta. And so things are getting done, and they're being done at high quality and as quickly as we can get them out. And again, like I said, I hope that you can be as proud of this program as we are, because we are getting a lot done. And by we, I mean all of us here, not just engineering. Any questions?
All right, ready for questions? All right, wait, let me, raise your hands and let me get you. All right, I got 6, I got 1, I got 3. All right, anybody else? All right, let's go. Commissioner Whiteley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Ms. Cooler, thank you so much for your efforts, you and the engineering team. I just wanted to be clear on one thing. I know there has been a bit of scrutiny as it relates to engineering, and I want you to know that, and I think I can speak for my colleagues, it's not about our engineering staff's ability to do the work. We know we have a very capable staff. We have a very capable team, and we're proud of you. For us, it's just a matter of making sure that we're getting projects done, understanding that the allocation of funds comes from up here, and so we have to be very mindful of that. So I wanted to be clear on that. We are extremely proud of our engineering team, you and the engineering team, and it's nothing, we don't think that we have an inadequate engineering team. I think that maybe that's gotten lost in some of the translation, but I want to be able to tell you that publicly, that we do support you and we think that y'all are doing a great job.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I concur. Y'all have done an amazing job, and I'm very grateful for moving forward with the Burnside Drainage Project. But I do have one concern that is kind of related to that, and it makes me shudder a little bit, is that causeway. And I know that at some point, we're going to have to address some type of elevation of that causeway, and I think it's something that if we don't, I mean, we can get the water off the island, but if we can't get the residents to and from their homes, or in the event of an emergency, we have a serious problem. I know that we've looked at partnering with the University of Georgia and the mussels, and I don't know what the outcome of that will be, but I think that we need to really address this. Now, having said that, I do believe that part of the problem when I venture over to Burnside Island is that people do drive on that right-of-way, and there's signs. I see cars parked there. I see, people driving. I think when they want to fish from that bridge, they park their cars. That is not helping with the erosion problem, but I think ultimately there's one way on and one way off of that island. And I don't want to know of anyone ever being stranded on that island, but that causeway is an issue. So, if there's a place in here, I think it should be part of that drainage study. Not that we're moving the water off of the causeway, but we've got to do something to elevate that causeway. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And that causeway too, again, is not in the SPLOS. All right.
Correct.
Right. So we want to make sure you know, but we are.
I understand.
Even
but
talking to GDOT. All right. There are 2 of those that we are talking to them about that we may get state funds once GDOT can get through this general session that's going on. All right. So that may come up. I was just giving you that's.
I'll do anything I can to help you with that.
Okay. Commissioner Lockett.
Thank you. Ms. Coolidge, first of all, I want to let you know that I certainly appreciate what you all have done over on Lansing Avenue for the simple reason we had a lot of calls about that. And you kept me filled with information that I could pass on to my constituents, such as supplies. We could not get them because there was a supply shortage. Some of them couldn't understand it, but when you gave it to me in the way you did, we was able to get it over to them. So we stopped a lot of calls with that. And we are now getting compliments on the drainage canal over at Nottingham, the Nottingham Canal. It's a good-looking project, and it's doing the job. And I do have kids now playing back on Lansing Avenue because the speeding is no longer there because of the speed bumps. So, very good. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Hodge.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the Early Childhood Center,
Yes.
is that the one, Senator Mallow is working with that? Okay,
It
I
is,
just wanted to
yes.
make sure it was the same one. Thank you.
All right. And let me say, lastly, Ms. Coolidge, that, you know, the very first time I met with all the department heads and everyone else, I said to you all that we would have your back, all right? And that still exists today. We have to inform our constituents and have to get them to understand that one of the things that we constantly get up here is people deciding all you got to do is this, and it's not all you have to do in order to solve the problem. We realize the problems, but there are solutions, and a lot of times the solution takes time, okay? Because you have to go through the process of doing it right. You need to know what you're doing, how you're doing, and why you're doing. And so all you got to do doesn't work. But we want to make sure that engineering knows that from this chairman and commissioners, we got your back, all right? And we applaud you for all the work you do. And one of the things I constantly get, and I think when I try to count the number of meetings I was in with GDOT doing, I think it was 7, all right? In each one of those meetings, the chairman and the staff at GDOT compliment on how well you all work together, all right? As well as when I talk to members from Senator Ossoff and Warnock staff, as well as when I talk to folks from the Secretary Buttigieg's office, all right? That's Federal Transportation. They're complimentary of our engineering department as well. So I want to make sure you understand that you know, we understand complaints, and we know, you know, what complaints, but I've never had a time when I've asked you all to meet me somewhere so that we could explain to residents like we did over on Burnside Island when we met with them about the floodgate and all the rest of it. I think the more we get out information about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it, and I think the majority of the people who complain or who call, they just want a timeline, you know, and I have to say to people, honestly, I have to say to people, this is not a microwave. Right? Even the resurfacing of a road takes time, and then when it takes the time, you're gonna be inconvenienced while it's going on. So again, hats off to the engineering department and the job you do. Well done. All right. Thank you, ma'am, so much. We didn't have anyone who wanted to take anything off the action calendar, so may I have a motion to accept it in its entirety?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second? Properly motion and second that we accept the action calendar in its entirety. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. Waiting on 8. Okay. All right, let's move on to, we don't have a first reader, we don't have a second reader. Information, Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. A couple things. At your desk there, you have a strategic planning update, and what that does, it announces that the blueprint application process opens up today, and you've got that information in front of you. Also, some information concerning the My Chatham app, and we want to make sure you have that. And if you have questions from your constituents, you can give them that information. We'll be sending out, the Parks and Recreation Department will be hosting a groundbreaking for the park, Ambert Park, and that's going to be on the 29th, so we'll get you that information. It'll be, I think, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so we'll be getting you that information. Also, we're going to be sending out the final schedule for the Savannah Chatham Day legislative meeting, and we have scheduled a breakfast meeting with the delegation, and we'll be getting you that information. That'll be at the Capitol. And then the city's also having a lunch meeting with the delegation, and both of those meetings are open to the public. So I suspect that we'll probably have some city council members sitting out on our workshop, our meeting with the delegation. You can also attend theirs. Both are open to the public, so you'll be able to hear that. And then we've got the reception at the depot at 5 o'clock that afternoon. And then on Thursday morning, we've got the legislative meeting at the James H. Floyd office complex, and that's at 10 o'clock. So that'll be from 10 to approximately noon. They're changing the way they're doing it this year. They're going to have panel discussions, so they'll have a panel on transportation, a panel on social services. So they're changing the format, so we'll get you that information too, so make sure you have that. So any questions, please contact our office, and we'll make sure you got all the information that you need.
Okay, anything else?
No, sir, that's it.
All right. Let me say this too now. You heard the manager mention that we are beginning the blueprint process, which is a budgeting process. Right. You're going to have constitutional officers, and you're going to have nonprofits that are going to come to you individually. Please don't put yourself in a position where they go back to the staff and said, Commissioner, promise me, all right? So listen, during the budgeting process, and that's one of the things I practice, and I hope that the rest of us practice, during the budgeting process, I don't let anybody talk to me about the application that they turn in, because it needs to go through the process, and it needs to go through the staff and let them do. I listen to them, all right? But please don't let us get caught up into the budgeting. And you're going to be doing budgeting now, and sometime you'll present it to the board in May. Is that right? You turn the budget over to us in May, and then we'll adopt it by the end of June. Okay, so I just want you to know that we are in the midst of the budgeting process now. Okay, so be on your P's and Q's about folks coming to you. There is a need for us to have an executive session. May I have a motion to adjourn from this session and go to executive session?
Yes, sir, it's for litigation.
Acquisition, and personnel.
Personnel, yes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is that properly motion and second that we go to executive session? Are you ready for the question? Cast your votes. All votes are in. We are adjourned.